Don't let it slip away. What am I talking about? I have a loaded show and topic today that I think is going to have a lot of people thinking about this because it's something so simple, yet we ignore it and or we take it for granted. So don't let it slip away. Welcome to the Paul Cruz Show. I have a loaded and dynamic topic today that I hope will inspire you and encourage you to make some serious changes that you never thought about. I know it did for me a long time ago, but I want to share that with you today. Before we dive into the topic, if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the subscription button below. If you like the video and the content, please give it a thumbs up and also share this video with others. Now, what do I mean by don't let it slip away? I'm going to get into some analysis. I'm going to get into some analogies and some examples before I actually tell you what you shouldn't slip away. But I hopefully, within the time we're speaking, that you'll figure it out. So I have my notes here with me today, and I'm excited about how things are going. Regardless of what's going on in the world with the pandemic and the politics and things like that, I don't sweat any of that. I just move forward and do the things that I can do and the things that I have control of. But first, you have to develop the right mindset and the right attitude in order to ignore those things. Not ignore them, but don't let it consume you, because at the end, your home and what you do every day is what really matters, right? Does that make sense? So, we're going to start off with this. We're going to talk about regrets. I'm sure we all have regrets about things in our life, whether it's good, bad, or different, right? And when we look back and we reflect, we say, I should have done this. I would have done this if something happened. And I could have done that. Is that you? Is that you? That was me. Been there, done that. I'm speaking to you from real experience. So, when we have regrets, it's because we were afraid of something. And so, because we were afraid of something, we wind up doing something else or ignore things that we should have not ignored. And then we have regrets. You could have regrets with a bad relationship, having a bad job that you didn't like, maybe not starting a business when you should have started a business, making certain decisions that you were afraid to make and then you regret it later. Regretting is not a good thing, because regretting things means that you've done things that you should have not done, or you should have done that you didn't do or did do. Does that make sense? And you can't get that back. Hopefully, you learn from those regrets. I know I have. There are things that I do regret that I should have never done. However, the Almighty God has forgiven me for that and have allowed me to start clean. But when you look back at life and you look back at, the things that you should have done, when you get at an older age and you feel life was wasted, maybe it was because you didn't do the things you should have done or could have done. For whatever reason, whatever excuse you gave yourself. Because there's two things in life. Either you make excuses or you get results. Or you get the results you don't want and you make excuses about it. So making excuses is a loser's mindset, and getting results and going after it is what I call the winner's attitude. And you see, regret starts with the mind. It starts with how you think, what you believe in, what you trust in, how your principles are, how your values are. Do you have a strong foundation in making those right decisions that will not lead to regrets? We've all been there. The problem is people don't learn from them. They just keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting to make changes or get a different result. That's insane. There's an acronym or a saying called, perfect practice. Practice makes perfect. And that's not true, because if you practice wrong, you're going to perform wrong. But if you practice right, you're going to perform right. You're going to get right results or more better results than not. Not always going to get the results you want. However, you have a process, you have a foundation that you can build on and make decisions on, so you have less regrets. Does that make sense? Now, bitterness. Bitterness is a bad thing. And we've all had that before. But when it gets to a level that you can't do nothing about it, that's deep, deep trouble. That's a spiritual problem. Now, what is bitterness? Bitterness has a lot of different emotions, a lot of different elements to it. It leads to hatred. And sometimes we hate people, or we hate other things that we don't have because we're jealous of it. Because we regret not doing what somebody else is doing that you wanted to do, right? That's the jealousy part. And because you never took the opportunity and did something about it, you have the regret. You're bitter that somebody else took advantage of it and not you. Now, that's a psychological thing. But there's certain things that lead to bitterness. Jealousy, envy, not liking somebody, vanity, you're miserable with yourself because you haven't accomplished anything. And then your mind is bothering you that you want to do something, but you procrastinate it. But what feeds bitterness, which is the number one poison in society today? What feeds it? The past. Living in the past. Not learning from it and moving forward and doing something about it. Getting stuck on stupid. Think about that. Are you bitter about things? If you are, be careful. It's not a good situation, a good mindset to be in. And the problem is that we have regrets because we don't take responsibilities. We make excuses. I've been in relationships before where I regret doing it. It was an emotional thing. I learned from it. Never did it again and won't do it again. I made some bad business decisions. Lost it all. My fault. No excuses. It wasn't like that in the beginning. I made every excuse in the book not to take responsibility. But at the end of the day, I had to take responsibility. I had no other choice. I'm going to give you a couple examples of my life. Now, this is not about me, but I want to share with you where I'm going with this topic. Don't let it slip away. There was 2 times in my life that I should have been dead. No ways around it. I should have been dead. I know now why I didn't die. I understand that now. I didn't understand it back then. The first time, it was in Colorado. Both times it was in Colorado. I'll never forget it. It was April 24th, 2000. I had just got my black belt in martial arts. I had my Range Rover. And my martial arts teacher was his birthday. That's when I used to celebrate birthdays. I don't anymore. So we went out that night. And Colorado closes early. So he wanted to drive. So I let him drive. And we came out of a restaurant. And I was getting on the passenger side. He was already had the car on, ready to take off. And next thing you know, I was on the ground. Somebody sucker punched me with brass knuckles, fractured my skull. When my teacher drove off, he looked in the rearview mirror. He saw the passenger door was open and I was laying on the floor. Long story short, my life was almost gone. I was in the hospital. Doctors didn't think I was going to survive. I had hemorrhage in my brain. You know, I was incoherent for a while. And that's just one scenario. The second one was, actually a year before that one, I was driving. It was late. I was coming home from work. And the same martial arts teacher, he used to work for me. We were living in the same area. And he was in front of me driving, and I was driving, and I was on the left lane, which is the express, 75 miles an hour. I fell asleep, and I went all the way to the end of the rail and went over the rail 200 yards down. Cops came, and they couldn't believe I was alive. You know what happened? Only my glasses were broken. I should have been dead, but I wasn't. I'm here now to speak about it. The point is, when those things happen, I wasn't bitter about it. I wasn't angry. I had an understanding why those things happened, but I didn't understand why I survived that. And I'm getting to a point with this. Have you ever experienced things like that where you regret, where you look back and something happened to you and says, whoa, I got to make some changes? Those things woke me up. And I took a different action. Now, one of the things about bitterness is not forgiving people, not letting go of the past, and not focusing on the causes of why you're doing those things. Just think about that. Ask yourself that question. Do I forgive people? It's hard. That's the hardest thing to do. Well, if you can't admit you're wrong, how can you forgive others? For me, everything's about spiritual. The physical things is what we see and do. But there's a deeper thing for this. And that's why I say don't let it slip away. Now, bottom line is this. Our number one commodity that no amount of money, no amount of fame, no amount of power, no amount of groups, nothing, no one. There's one thing you can never ever get back. And that is time. And that's what I mean about don't let it slip away. Don't waste time with propaganda. Don't waste time letting your mind be infested with garbage in and garbage out. Don't waste time hating somebody or being jealous of somebody or not caring for somebody. Because if we think about ourselves only, you're never going to care about anybody. Don't ever let time slip away, because you can't get it back. So do what you need to do to be successful, honestly, with integrity, with values. Don't have regrets doing that. Ask yourself, are you doing things with integrity, with values, with morals, with truth? Or are you doing the opposite? Think about that. So, don't let it slip away. Treasure every moment that you have, because you never know when our day is going to come. I thank God every single day for the air that I breathe, the breath that I take. I thank Him every day just for allowing me to wake up. Because guess what? We can't wake up on our own. We can't walk on our own. We can't breathe on our own. We just can't. And here's the thing is, whatever you do in life, no matter what it is, no matter how small you may think it is, whether you're a janitor, you're washing windows, don't matter. Do it with all your heart. Do it with all your passion. Love doing it. There's nothing wrong with it. Because at the end of the day, when we're dead, there's no remembrance, right? There's no time. So don't worry about nonsense. Don't worry about, the little stupid things in life. Because all we have is one life. And once it's gone and it slip away, you can't get that back. Does that make sense? So, I think about it every single day. I know the big picture. I understand what's coming, what's going to happen, and what the future lies. But I don't talk about it because it's not my job to do that. However, I am going to share some experiences with you. Don't let time slip away. It's the most precious commodity that we have. What you do with it is on you. But don't blame nobody else for not doing what you should do. And don't blame nobody about coulda, shoulda, woulda. Don't make excuses. Just do something about it. And you're going to feel a whole lot different. You're going to see a whole lot of opportunities opening up. Because one thing I've learned, a prepared mind doesn't make excuses, doesn't wait for opportunities. It creates opportunities, not only for himself or herself, but for others. Are you doing that? Just think about that. And before we go, I hope this topic has been helpful. I hope it has given you something to think about. I want to thank all of you for being part of the Paul Cruz Show. Till we speak again, I say goodbye for now. And remember this, don't let it slip away. Have a great day. Bye for now.